attracted hundreds of thousands of new users. Now, the unstoppable growth peaked well over 500,000 followers right before Meta intervened on the handle. His breakout reels dominated global algorithmic timelines, drawing over 150 million individual video views online. And that's 150 million views are only on his account, which has since been suspended. Now, as thousands of students gathered under the banner of the Cockroach Janata Party to protest exam irregularities, you see, Bisht, he captured the ground reality through a very distinct Gen Z lens. Shunning lengthy political speeches, his Mauj Masti lifestyle format resonated globally, creating an overnight digital powerhouse. What we are seeing is a textbook clash, you see, between real-world organic velocity and, well, automated platform security. When a profile grows by 10,000% in just 48 hours, internal triggers assume it's a malicious server farm buying engagement. Now, this completely ignored the fact that it is actually a real human being capturing a massive socio-political movement live on the ground. Instagram's automated system locked the account after misidentifying the massive influx of new organic human followers as artificial spam. The profile is currently offline and sitting in Meta's automated safety queue for manual verification. The creator has meanwhile fixed a window to submit official government identification to human moderators to prove the page's authenticity. Now, because the hyper-accelerated user traffic triggered immediate internal security blockades, the account remains trapped in Meta's compliance pipeline. Despite his personal profile remaining locked behind strict verification protocols, you see, Bisht's digital footprint has proven impossible to contain. Third-party screen recordings and even community fan pages, they continue to circulate his raw footage, even as the creator himself, and he struggles against a blind algorithm to reclaim his online identity. This is another stark reminder of how vulnerable modern social movements remain to the automated whims of big tech algorithms. We will keep tracking whether Meta restores Isaac 1 RL in the coming days. Well, switching focus, you see, viewers, the democratic facade put up by Islamabad has it's been completely collapsed today in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Now, this comes as the highly controversial three-phase legislative assembly elections kicked off just today. The ground reality, viewers, is not one of queues, but of completely deserted polling stations. That's right, the JAAC, or the Joint Awami Action Committee's total election boycott, has successfully frozen the Mirpur division. Even mainstream Pakistani media outlets like RE News are facing public rage for trying to cover up this massive political rebellion. Let's go straight to our special report exposing these PoK sham polls.
An election under the barrel of a gun is the grim reality across Pakistan-occupied Kashmir's Mirpur division today. This comes as Islamabad attempts to force a sham legislative poll on a population that has completely rejected it. Heavily armed police personnel have been deployed to engineer the vote. This has turned local schools into military fortresses, while state colluding networks spin the facts. 14,000 elite Punjab police personnel were deployed to forcibly engineer the voting outcomes, while strict bans on public assemblies and communication blackouts have turned entire constituencies into militarized zones. Mainstream channels like ARY News face heavy police call-outs for manipulating actual turnout data. This, as local activists warn that administrative machinery will illegally stuff ballot boxes under the cover of night to fake democratic participation. But the people of PoK refuse to be silenced. They're turning an engineered election day into a historic public rebellion because the empty polling stations speak the absolute truth. The Joint Awami Action Committee claims not a single ballot was cast in Dharial hours after polling opened, as citizens purportedly fiercely reject the 12 reserved migrant seats used by Islamabad to plant political puppets. Starving locals refuse to vote until severe inflation and skyrocketing electricity tariffs are slashed. forcing the JAC to officially order protesters to abandon booths and begin a massive long march from Rawalkot toward the regional capital of Muzaffarabad. With over 1.4 million registered voters actively choosing empty streets over rigged ballot boxes, Islamabad's iron grip on the occupied territory is breaking. And the message from the ground is loud, clear, and final. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
From Pakistan, we take you to Eurasia, viewers, where the war in Ukraine, it's once again put civilian and international crews at risk. Now, this comes after a merchant vessel carrying Indian nationals was hit at the strategic Black Sea port of Odessa. The strike comes as Russia and Ukraine, they both continue a fierce battle over control of key infrastructure, with both sides now claiming major attacks against each other in the past few days. In the latest, New Delhi has also summoned Ukrainian ambassador to lodge a strong diplomatic protest. Here's a report.
A merchant vessel carrying 4 Indian nationals has been hit at Ukraine's port of Odessa. The Indian embassy in Kiev says 2 crew members are safe, while details about the remaining 2 are still awaited. The embassy says it is closely monitoring the situation and is in contact with authorities for further updates. The vessel MV Aegean Ragnar was struck as attacks on Ukrainian port infrastructure continue. Odessa has repeatedly come under fire since the conflict began in 2022 due to its strategic importance for trade and military logistics. Russia says its forces targeted Ukrainian military-linked infrastructure along the Black Sea coast. Moscow has claimed strikes on ports including Odessa, Chornomorsk and Izmail. Ukraine, meanwhile, says it has pushed back Russian offensives and destroyed Russian equipment. Zelensky has also accused Moscow of seeking additional military support from North Korea. This includes troops and missile systems. According to Zelensky, preparations for these additional forces are underway in Russia's Voronezh region, which is close to the Ukrainian border. The region is a key industrial and military hub with aerospace and defense manufacturing facilities. Bureau Report for NETV World.
Changing gears, viewers, you see 27 years after the Kargil war, on the recent eve of the Kargil Vijay Divas, we brought you a big exclusive. For the first time, 2 former Israeli Air Force officers speaking to Indian media reveal how exactly Israel quietly armed the Indian Air Force's fighter jets during Operation Vijay and Operation Safed Sagar, turning the very tide against pariah Pakistan back in 1999. We get here this exclusive conversation with my colleague, Aditya Rajgopal.
Today, I'm reporting from Kargil, outside the Kargil War Memorial, and for the first time here on national television, we have 2 very critical, very significant and very important guests, Ami and Shlomo, joining us from Israel. And these are the 2 pillars of the relationship because, in my opinion, both of them laid the foundation of the defense ties in many ways between Israel and India, especially in the year 1999 when the war actually began. Ami and Shlomo, thank you very much for taking out time and joining us here on NDTV. Ami, let me begin by introducing you. Ami is a former officer of the Israeli Air Force, and he's been the program officer of the Rafael defense company, one of the major defense giants from Israel. And Shlomo is, of course, former officers with 4 decades in the Israeli Air Force and also a very, very prominent and respected former fighter pilot of the Israeli Air Force. Ami, if I can begin with you, and straight to the point, how would you describe the support that came in from Israel to India, and particularly the Indian Air Force, in the year 1999 when the war in Kargil, right behind me, was being fought?
Thank you so much for having us. Just a little important correction. I worked as a civilian employee at Rafael And yes, I worked closely with the
Yes.
Israeli Air Force, as well as I've met Shlomo, but as a civilian, and I was very lucky to be one of the pioneers of Rafael to work in India. I wouldn't call myself as a pillar of this. I should start from a long dialogue between the Indian Air Force, the Indian Ministry of Defense, and Rafael, and my colleagues, who in 1996 finally signed a contract in November 96 towards the integration of Lightning Pod to several Indian aircraft, and today we are talking about the first one, the Mirage 2000. This was an effort that started many years earlier by an initiative in Rafael based on the know-how and capabilities, very significant capabilities of Rafael, a defense company, and the vision of the late David Zeit, whom I reported to. He was my supervisor, and he, a few years earlier than 96, initiated this very significant program that gave a very important answer to critical time targets that is very well spoken today, but 30 years back, 40 years back, it was not so obvious. So he initiated it, and I was lucky to convince him that I should lead the program for India. And we must remember all our team members, many of them, many engineers, many technicians, many partners, as well as Shlomo, my very good friend as a fighter pilot, who guided us how to make the system suitable for fighter pilots. So, having in mind this contract and a lot of work conducted in India since December 96, January 97, until March 99, in which we completed the first aircraft test sessions, very many tests, sorties, and we were ready for something that was missing, and then brought the phone call that called me, please come and help us.
Well, a historic feat at that. With that, it's time we step into a short break. Much more lined up on the other side. We'll be right back.
Order yours with O2 and save up to £825. Plus, get Galaxy Buds 4 Pro for £1. O2, essential for living.
This is Zena. She had such a difficult start in life. It took a lot of time and care, but thankfully, she's happy and healthy now, with a loving home for life. You can adopt Zena today with the Donkey Sanctuary. And there are lots more lovely donkeys to choose from. Take Walter. He's so playful. He loves to chase his favourite ball. Or Ashley, such a fun-loving donkey. Or calm and confident Drizzle. Adopting a donkey costs from £4 a month. Adopt today and you'll help save donkeys all over the world from abuse and neglect. You'll love your adoption pack with gorgeous pictures of your new donkey friend, and we'll send you more great updates throughout the year. Call 0800 038 1948, visit adoptadonkey.org.uk or text ADOPT9 to 78866. Adopt today from £4 a month and help many more donkeys in desperate need find the love and care they deserve. Thank you.
Deborah, stop horsing around. Let's play Zebra Bingo. With branded bingo rooms like Fluffy Favourites Bingo, Deal or No Deal Bingo. And Clover Rollover Bingo. And more classic bingo games than you could shake your tail at. There's over £6.5 million in bingo prizes to be won every month on the Bingo Network. Come on, let's play Zebra Bingo!
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. You could help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma. Call 0800 038 1634. Text C16 to 82727 or go online and give just £2 a month now, because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga.
Back here, viewers, now we take you to the West, where India's most ambitious film yet, by a margin, in fact, it's aiming for a global audience. At the San Diego Comic-Con, the team behind Ramayana shared why they believe this timeless Indian epic can stand shoulder to shoulder with the world's biggest superhero stories. Here's a report.
An ancient epic, retold for a new generation. With a stellar cast, world-class VFX, and music by Oscar winners A.R. Rahman and Hans Zimmer, Ramayana is taking one of India's most revered stories to audiences across the globe.
I mean, all the superheroes, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and I also find this similarity, you know, though I wouldn't want to call Lord Rama a superhero, but like, if you compare the superpower, it boils down to humanity, you know, it boils down to compassion. You know, you could have the superpower of flying, beating up people, you know, through buildings, but unless you don't have the quality of being a human, you know, I think that is one similarity that you see across great superheroes and great heroes.
For Ranbir Kapoor, who plays Lord Ram, the film's biggest strength isn't spectacle alone. It's the universal values of compassion and humanity that have made the epic endure for centuries.
I always believe that you've got to be really authentic to your culture, to your country, you know, not try and please while you're doing the work, you know, and I think a worldwide audience always emotionally connects to that. Authenticity, being truthful to your culture. I think that's what's most important.
Producer Namit Malhotra echoed that thought, saying audiences around the world are moved by the same emotions, no matter where the stories come from.
Lord Hanuman through Spider-Man and then Batman with the Dark Knight trilogy that I saw. So that sort of has been, I think all of us are consumed by the same stories and the same heroes and the same emotion, and that is universal. And that's why we feel that Ramayana has all of that, that people of the world can really, as excited as we are about Western superheroes, I think the West should be very enthused by what we've got on the other side.
Director Nitesh Tiwari says, while the film is designed for a global audience, staying true to the original epic has remained non-negotiable.
You know, we've kept the sanctity of the original text, and because there are so many versions of it, can you believe there are over 300 versions of Ramayana in India itself? And that's the reason why we had to keep all the sensibilities in mind. We kept on consulting, and till date we are consulting some eminent scholars who are guiding us with the do's and don'ts. And at the same time, we want to make it relevant and exciting for the rest of the world also. So it's been a daunting task, and I think somewhere, you know, looking at the reaction what we've got from the people here. I think somewhere I feel that we've managed to achieve that.
Starring Ranbir Kapoor, Sai Pallavi, Yash, Sunny Deol, Ravi Dubey and Arun Govil, Ramayana will release in 2 parts, with the first chapter arriving this Diwali and the second following next year. NDTV Bureau Report.
Well, finally, news from the sports universe, where Indian stars, they're putting on a dominant show, to say the least, at the underway Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Leading the charge, weightlifting icon Mirabai Chanu. She's clinched a historic golden hat-trick, shattering games records. Meanwhile, powerhouse lifters Rishikanta Singh and Raja Muddapati have also made their standings. With more high-stakes medal rounds underway, Team India is only charging up the standings. Well, we leave you with Mirabai Chanu's winning moments. News and updates, they continue on the other side.
Games records in both snatch and clean and jerk, and a Commonwealth record in the snatch. Games record in the total as well, which is 190, and there it is, the 3rd straight gold.
When you love donkeys as much as I do, it's really hard to believe that anyone could hurt them. But so many in the UK are suffering right now. Donkeys like Timmy and Tommy. We found them imprisoned in filthy conditions, desperately underweight and in terrible pain. And Echo, he had been abandoned and left with overgrown, twisted hooves. Every step he took was agony. He couldn't have survived like this much longer. Donkeys are such beautiful, sensitive animals, and it's so wrong knowing that they're still being mistreated in our country today.
If you care about what happens to our precious donkeys, please, will you do something to help protect them? You can by calling 0800 035 7805 and giving £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. When you do, you will help a welfare advisor like Sally rescue donkeys and bring them to safety. You'll help us treat the sick, heal the injured, and give them all the love they need.
It's amazing to see donkeys finally have the happy lives they so deserve.
So please, help us keep our donkeys safe from harm. Call 0800 035 7805 or text Rescue 6 to 78866 and give £2 a month to the Donkey Sanctuary. Because so many donkeys like Timmy and Tommy are cruelly suffering. Please help us protect them right now.
Life in your 50s doesn't slow down, and if you're like me, you've done enough waiting. That's why I'm with Cover Today, the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers, who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. Don't wait around to look after your loved ones. Get Cover Today.
To find out more, call our friendly UK team or visit covertoday.co.uk.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £5 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £5 a month. Join us now, because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig, until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They're now India's smallest, but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship, the line of control, Shivarur, NDTV.
This is where the future shows up first. Conversations with the biggest names in tech and AI. Putting tech through its paces. No fancy jargon or spec sheets, just what matters. If it's shaping the future, you'll see it here first. The Tesla Model Y. This is Tech 360. Real talk, real reviews across the NDTV network.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to the World Report with me, Arjun Samar Mahindran. Let's take a look at what's making global headlines this Monday. The US has paused its strikes on Iran for 2 consecutive evenings after senior military officials. They reportedly advised President Donald Trump to halt the bombing campaign. At the same time, diplomatic efforts have intensified to prevent the nearly 5-month-old conflict from spiraling back into a full-scale war. Trump is now weighing both military and diplomatic options, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to visit the White House on Tuesday for high-level talks on the next phase of the crisis. Meanwhile, here's a report.
A fragile pause is holding between the US and Iran after 2 weeks of intense attacks. According to reports, Washington has not carried out any new strikes on Iran since Thursday night, while Tehran has not targeted American bases in the region since Friday.
These attacks continue until 2 nights ago. However, over the past 2 nights, the Americans stopped their attacks. Since, as I said, our strategy was fundamentally retaliatory, we also halted our retaliatory operations.
But tensions remain high in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Tasnim news agency reported that an oil tanker exploded in the strait after hitting a naval mine. Reports suggest the tanker struck the mine after moving away from a shipping route designated by Iranian authorities. Meanwhile, Oman is leading efforts to keep tensions from rising further. An Omani delegation has been holding talks in Tehran. The focus is to reopen shipping routes and managing traffic through Hormuz. The discussions are focused on how commercial vessels can safely pass Hormuz, including routes along the Omani coast and Iranian waters. The diplomatic push comes as Trump pauses strikes on Iran. However, Washington says its naval measures remain in place. On the other hand, mediators say talks are moving in a positive direction. The question remains, can this temporary calm turn into a lasting ceasefire? Bureau Report, NDTV World.
US President Donald Trump has rejected claims that Washington is facing a problem with its depleting weapons stockpile, adding that we have far more munitions than anyone in the world and far more than we need. Here's what Washington's envoy to the UN said about concerns pertaining to America's weapons stockpile.
As the president said, we are locked and loaded. Even more assets are going into theater. But he's giving talks some space. He's giving it a little bit of room. We've had both Oman and Iran and a number of our other negotiators engaged at every level, from the most senior levels all the way down to the technical level over the past few weeks, and particularly in the past few days.
Meanwhile, here's a special NDTV World Report taking a look at the current status of America's weapon stockpile.
US President Donald Trump has brushed aside reports that Washington is running low on missiles after its campaign against Iran. The White House says America's military remains unmatched, but experts are raising serious questions. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, by the time the first phase of the US-Iran war ended in April, the US had used at least 50% of its THAAD ballistic missile interceptors, nearly half of its Patriot air defense interceptors, and roughly 30% of its Tomahawk cruise missiles. An enormous expenditure for a phase of the war that was only a few months long. The bigger concern is what comes next. Replacing these weapons won't happen overnight. According to reports in the US media, only 15 Tomahawk missiles are being produced every month. On the other hand, around 20 Patriot interceptors are delivered monthly. And not a single THAAD interceptor is scheduled for delivery in 2026. The CSIS estimates it could take 3 years or even longer for the US to restore its missile stockpiles to pre-Iran war levels. That poses a difficult question for Washington. Can America continue to deter China in the Indo-Pacific, support Ukraine in Europe, protect Israel in West Asia, and still fight another major war? President Trump insists the reports are wrong, but the figures suggest a different reality. In a world facing multiple flashpoints, America's biggest challenge may no longer be firing missiles, but rebuilding the arsenal before the next war begins. Bureau Report for NDTV World.
War in Ukraine has once again put civilians and international crews alike at risk. This after a merchant vessel carrying Indian nationals was hit at the strategic Black Sea port of Odessa. The strike comes as Russia and Ukraine both they continue a fierce battle over the control of key infrastructure, with both sides now claiming major attacks against each other. Take a look at this next report.
A merchant vessel carrying 4 Indian nationals has been hit at Ukraine's port of Odessa. The Indian embassy in Kiev says 2 crew members are safe, while details about the remaining 2 are still awaited. The embassy says it is closely monitoring the situation and is in contact with authorities for further updates. The vessel MV Aegean Ragnar was struck as attacks on Ukrainian port infrastructure continue. Odessa has repeatedly come under fire since the conflict began in 2022 due to its strategic importance for trade and military logistics. Russia says its forces targeted Ukrainian military-linked infrastructure along the Black Sea coast. Moscow has claimed strikes on ports including Odessa, Chornomorsk and Izmail. Ukraine, meanwhile, says it has pushed back Russian offensives and destroyed Russian equipment. Zelensky has also accused Moscow of seeking additional military support from North Korea. This includes troops and missile systems. According to Zelensky, preparations for these additional forces are underway in Russia's Voronezh region, which is close to the Ukrainian border. The region is a key industrial and military hub with aerospace and defense manufacturing facilities. Bureau Report for NETV World.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Sunday that New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani is fomenting hate by calling the Prime Minister a war criminal who should be arrested over the war in Gaza if he visits the city for the United Nations General Assembly. Netanyahu said he intends to be in New York in September to address the annual UN gathering of world leaders, despite the mayor's suggestion that he is not welcome. Mamdani said last week that while New York City does not have legal authority to execute an arrest warrant issued by the world's top war criminals court, he encouraged the federal government to do so.
Look at what he's doing. He's fomenting hate. He's supposed to be the mayor of all New Yorkers, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone. But he's trying to turn one group against the other, and he's foisting hate and fear. I speak to Jewish Americans in New York, and they're afraid right now. And I don't think it's accidental.
At least 3 people were killed and 4 others were wounded in a shooting at a food festival in Seattle, just a block from the city's iconic Space Needle. The Seattle's mayor office confirmed that cops had 1 suspect in custody. Authorities believe 2 people were shooting at each other as 2 guns have also been recovered. Now, according to the police, 1 suspect is still absconding. According to a Seattle Times report, meanwhile, the gunfire erupted around 6 p.m. at the Seattle Center during the Bite of Seattle festival. Victims have been transported to the Harborview Medical Center. The shooting happened at the time Seattle Center was hosting its annual Bite of Seattle festival, featuring hundreds of local vendors and live music performances.
I was about to grab me a boba from the boba stand. I heard about, I'd say, close to 12. Sounded a little bit like firecrackers at first. It kept, took like, I'd say, a half a second pause, and I heard a lot more. I realized it was semi-automatic. Probably it sounded like a switch. I looked to my left. I saw at least 1 individual with a switch, semi-automatic. I saw another one that was 2. That's when I heard over that those shots fired. That's when I took off around the corner. I heard that I saw at least 1 person go down. I know it was a mom that went down. I'm not sure who else was injured.
A raging wildfire in southwest France forced the evacuation of 55,000 people overnight Sunday, bringing the total forced out of their homes to a staggering 220,000 or 220,000 in one region alone. This comes as flames crept even closer to the wine region city of Bordeaux. Shifting and gusting winds as well as arid conditions, they together complicated massive efforts to limit the spread of the monster blaze burning out of control, since midweek in France's Gironde region, where Bordeaux is in fact located. Authorities issued overnight evacuation orders for 5 more localities southwest of the historic city. Evacuees will not be allowed back to their towns and villages until the blaze is brought under control.
All the authorities and the medics have been really amazing, and there are loads of volunteers, and I'm very grateful for that.
Sunday morning, I'm west of Bordeaux, just north of the village of Marcheprime. Fires continue to burn through woodland areas, creating a smoky, serene scene of the morning sunrise. The fires here are small, but still moving steadily. And they're in patches, but creating lots of white smoke out here that you can see everywhere that covers the morning sky. These are what firefighters are still battling. It's a large battle that has yet to be contained.
Pope Leo XIV expressed his solidarity with those affected by the devastating wildfires in France and Spain on Sunday, inviting faithful to pray for those affected and rescue workers as well.
A fronte dei devastanti incendi che in questi giorni hanno interessato varie località della Francia e della Spagna, manifesto la mia vicinanza e invito tutti a pregare per le persone colpite e per il lavoro dei soccorritori.
Meanwhile, a flash flood triggered by intense short-duration rainfall in Baiyuan County, northwest China's Gansu province, has killed at least 10 people and injured 23 over the weekend. According to state broadcaster CCTV, the flood struck a valley at around 2 p.m. on Sunday after heavy rain upstream caused water levels to surge, trapping nearby campers and also sweeping away vehicles parked along the riverbank. Witnesses recalled that a sudden torrential downpour swept through the river valley when the disaster hit, carrying silt and rocks rushing down from the surrounding mountains and upstream. and some were hit falling rocks before they could escape to safety. Well, it's time we slip into a short break with that. Stay tuned, there's much more lined up. We'll be right back.
Daddy, what a week.
You never quite know what you're walking into. There was this one old boy, he could barely lift his head. The look in his eyes said it all. Then those kittens, so quiet. You could tell that they'd been through so much. And poor Charlie, he didn't know if we were there to help him or hurt him. You focus on getting those animals away to safety. I just wish we could help even more.
You don't have to wear a uniform to be an animal rescuer. To help animals now, just call 0800 313 4367. Text RESCUE to 81456 or visit our website to give £2 a month.
Every week, the RSPCA is called to rescue over 5,000 animals. Without us, many would still be suffering behind closed doors. Seeing them learn to trust people again, incredible. But these are really tough times for animals. We're seeing a lot more deliberate cruelty and neglect. Right now, those animals need all of us.
Please call 0800 313 4367, text RESCUE to 81456 or visit our website to give £2 a month.
Together, we can rescue them. We must.
Pre-order yours with O2 and save up to £825. Plus, get Galaxy Buds 4 Pro for £1. O2, essential for living.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. You could help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma. Call 0800 038 1634. Text C16 to 82727 or go online and give just £2 a month now, because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga.
Welcome back. You see, World War II's D-Day landing beaches in northern France and the iconic Mount Olympus in Greece were among the sites added to the World Heritage List on Sunday at a UN committee meeting in South Korea, reviewing dozens of nominations, that is. The UNESCO committee, which meets in Busan through Wednesday, by the way, also inscribed the ancient Japanese capital of Asuka and Fujiwara. The French designation covers the 5 Normandy landing beaches, Omaha, Utah, Sword, Gold and Juno, where more than 150,000 Allied troops came ashore on the 6th of June 1944, along with the Point des Hawks assault site, all central to campaign to liberate Western Europe from Nazi occupation during the Second World War. Lando Norris crashed in on Oscar Piastri's bizarre collision with a backmarker to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. This as Lewis Hamilton lost further ground to Kimi Antonelli in his bid for a record 8th World Championship. Norris surrendered the lead to Piastri following a sloppy start from the pole position, but he took advantage of the McLaren teammate tangling with Carlos Sainz to in fact land the victory of his title defense. Piastri ran off the road after his front right tyre made contact with the rear left of Sainz Williams, losing him up to 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Norris immediately stepped for tyres and emerged in the net lead. Norris then passed Antonelli on lap 46 before finally cantering to the checkered flag. Well, F1 is heading back to Malaysia for its first time in 9 years, as the Bahrain Grand Prix was rescheduled there for the 4th of October. The Sepang circuit is slotted in between races in Azerbaijan and Singapore, subject, of course, to approval from the FIA's World Motorsports Council. F1 and the FIA said Sunday. F1 called off its races in Bahrain and Saudi, which had in fact been set for March and April. This as the Iran war escalated. Despite taking place in Malaysia, the race would still have Bahrain Grand Prix branding. Xu Tiansheng defeated Tomo Junior Popov of France 2-1, 21-15, 7-21, 21-13 to become the first Taiwanese male pair to win the BWF China Open title in over 30 years in Changzhou, China on Sunday. Zhao was in strife when he, by the way, trailed 6-12 and 8-13 in the opening game, but staged a brilliant rally to level scores and then, of course, take the lead for the first time at 14-13. The Taiwanese pair did not slow down as he won the game 21-15. Popov showed his class as he made quick work of his opponent in the second game and won 21-7. But Xu took crucial 4-0 lead in the decider with the draft of the court in his favour, and of course, then he never squandered it before winning 21-30 finally. Hollywood star Ryan Reynolds has become the latest Marvel star to pop up at the studio's big Comic-Con panel. The Canadian star came out dressed as fully denim Deadpool to beg for a role in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige, who by the way hosted the panel, called on someone in the audience with the swords to ask the question of the Doomsday cast during Saturday night's big event. At first, it wasn't clear whether this was indeed Reynolds because the actor didn't move his mask. Perhaps it was a body double. Reynolds just recorded an audio message played in the room. However, Reynolds later posted photos of himself in the costume to his Instagram stories, calling himself Jean-Paul. Well, the Odyssey continued to exert a mighty hold on moviegoers in its second weekend in North America theaters, with $87 million in ticket sales, according to studio estimates Sunday. Now, that's only 30% drop from its first weekend, an incredibly modest slide for a blockbuster. It's also filmmaker Christopher Nolan's best second weekend ever, not accounting for the inflation. Back in 2008, The Dark Knight earned $75.2 million in weekend 2, with $128.3 million from international theaters. The Odyssey, in fact, has made an estimated $639.6 million globally. Second and the third place went to Disney releases Moana with $10.5 million, and Toy Story 5 close behind with $10 million. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. News and updates, they continue on the other side. Don't you go anywhere.
With Post Office Over 50s live cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive an amazon.co.uk, M&S or dining out gift card worth £125. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
We know that living with diabetes can make daily life a challenge, and we're here to help.
I felt very low with the diagnosis and very lonely as well, and embarrassed.
I think people don't necessarily realise the impact that being diabetic can have on you, and the amount of extra decisions you have to make a day through carb counting every single thing you eat.
If you're struggling with the everyday challenges diabetes can bring, become a Diabetes UK member today. Receive this informative welcome pack and Balance magazine.
Balance magazine has been very good in giving me tips to manage my diabetes on a day-to-day basis.
One of the things I was recommended to do was exercise. What motivated me was my love of dance, and I got that back.
Join a community that really understands. Call 0800 035 7605 or go online to become a member for